From the News Channel 5 Network, this is MorningLine.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine. Nick Barris here on a Thursday. We have a good show on tap. Listen, sit back, watch. Do not go outside. And especially later today. It is so hot out there. So just relax and join in the conversation. This morning we're going to be talking. We did open phones yesterday. This morning, a topic that I think is very important, and it's something you would have probably wanted to talk about today anyway, but the whole issue of community relations, race relations within cities. We all know what's happening nationwide right now in the effort to improve dialogue and make things better. And certainly Nashville, I think, is trying to do a good job with that, and trying to know where to start, how to get involved. And there's a big event coming up on Saturday we're going to tell you about that I think is going toward that end. We're going to get into the details, and my two guests can do a much better job of explaining what we're talking about here than I can. But we'll open up the phone lines in just a moment. But let me introduce them to you. With us this morning, Lonnell Matthews. He's Director of Office and Neighborhoods and Community Engagement here in the city. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Nick.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Sitting next to him, Michelle Hernandez-Lane, Chief Diversity Officer for Metro Nashville. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Well, our pleasure. This is something that's important to talk about, and yes. I know you both agree with that. An event happening on Saturday. We'll talk more there, but let me start with you, Michelle.
Okay.
First of all, you know, Chief Diversity Officer, this is something new to the city, is it not?
It is. It is. It's a new position. It was created by Mayor Berry. It was something that she saw as an important addition to her administration. Chief Diversity Officer really is responsible for, in a nutshell, kind of running point, if you will, on diversity issues in the city. We are very intentional about ensuring that we have diversity and that there's the representation of the diverse population of Nashville in our workforce, in the workplace, which is very different. Also in our business relationships, whether that's supplier diversity or other kinds of business relationships we have with the general business community, but also in our programs and in our services and in policy development. So it's important for us to ensure that we're reflecting the diversity of Nashville, the makeup of the people that we serve in those various areas.
And even within a police department or a sheriff's department, things like this. And we know, I mean, we've seen percentages, and I saw some of the stories recently. I mean, the police department, I think, wants to do a better job of that.
Absolutely.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. I mean, the numbers, again, are what they are. I don't think any of us can dispute that. And I also don't think that we can dispute that there is a desire on behalf of the Chief of Police to do a better job and to reflect the diversity of the folks that they serve and protect. I think that what we need to do is really define a good process and a strategic approach to making sure that we create that diversity within the ranks of the police department. So it's a challenge, but I think it's one that we have some good guidance nationally in other markets to help us really we can overcome that.
All right. From your perspective, Lonnell, with neighborhoods, community engagement, you know, she's talking about the government side of things and watching how things play out. Is it from your perspective more than from the citizens and their engagement with the groups she's dealing with?
Yes, and also Nashville is just becoming a more diverse city, and so in the growth that we're experiencing and becoming more diverse, how are we being very intentional with the policies and things that procedures that we're putting in place to make sure that there's equity to the opportunity that Nashville provides for our community, and making sure that the opportunity is there for everyone.
Absolutely.
Is something that's really important. So my office is focused a lot on that.
Okay. Well, and yeah, that's just a good policy in general. In the TV biz, what we do here, I think it's important for us. We should reflect our viewers in terms of our ethnicity in our newsroom, demographic and all that, because everyone kind of brings something different to the table.
Absolutely.
And I think that's important. Now, frankly, to be honest with you, I don't care where you are, whatever your viewership is, I think you should have a diverse newsroom. I just think that's a healthy thing. And that's the same thing with government and in neighborhoods. All right, but we'll open up the phone lines. People can comment. Now, clearly we know why I think what both of you are doing is perhaps more important than ever before in this country's history. Okay, I mean, what we see happening right now with some of the violence, some of the protests, clearly there is unrest elsewhere, and I think there are some people here who are upset about what they see happening. I mean, I know you're both very aware of that, but you realize, I mean, we haven't had anything horrible happen here yet, but it could.
Absolutely. I think you're right. We haven't seen kind of the the lid blow off, if you will. But that does not mean that some of the sentiments and the concerns and the desire to have positive conversations are not there. And I think that the mayor's goal with these events that we'll talk about a little more is to really give people an opportunity to have those conversations, to have an open, honest dialogue.
But what are they going to talk about, though? Because, you know, I've had Reverend Fuzz and other community leaders come on, and I respect the heck out of them because they're constantly meeting with the chief and a lot of talk. But I even sense with them sometimes the frustration is the time for talking's done. Okay, I know you guys are going to get together and we'll talk about this event, and the talking's great. But really, and me too, time for talking is done. I want to see something happen beyond a bunch of people sitting around talking, coming up with ideas.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you have to be focused on exactly what that action is.
I know, right, and that's why I understand why that has to be done. But, but we've been talking for so darn long.
If I can interject, so Pastor Faison at Watson Grove Baptist Church held a grief and healing community forum 2 days ago, and I actually had a conversation with a friend yesterday, and he made a very poignant point that usually when we have these type of incidents, we go and move to extreme activism, external activism, without dealing with the internal trauma of those events. And so Mayor Berry has a process that she repeats over and over. She says we have to go from conflict to conversation to action.
Okay, that sounds good.
And so I'll push back a little bit and say that talking is needed, and talking is action when you're talking about dealing with the internal trauma that some of these events cause, the racial tension, because you really can't get to the cognitive thought of how do we move forward without dealing with that internal trauma and dealing with the emotions that come with that. And so Lipscomb, who is partnering with us on this event on Saturday, they actually have designed a facilitated dialogue to be able to do that with the end goal in mind that we want to get to the cognitive thought. We want to start talking about what actions can we take, both government and as a community as a whole. But you have to have those conversations. You have to get past the trauma and the emotion.
Because we see it sometimes then playing out if you don't do this. And some of these protests and peaceful protests, I don't have any problem with that ever at all. I mean, this is America. I think it's great. It's just when it turns violent. And some of that's sparking. So you think maybe some of that's occurring because there's not enough of this type of dialogue to where they feel as though they're being heard.
Absolutely.
And people are moving just to take action without dealing with what's happening internally with them. When you see a video like the video of Alton Sterling or Philando Castile,
it's traumatic.
Yeah, it's traumatic. It's going to stir up certain emotions. It's going to make you angry, fearful, and all of those emotions, if you don't deal with them in a very positive way, in a controlled, structured way, there's no telling what actions you may take. And it may be to the detriment.
All right, the event then, and we can build out of that. Okay, it's going to be on Saturday, right? From 1 to 4 o'clock over at Pearl Cone?
That's correct.
And 100 representatives. Oh, we've got it up on the screen. That's cool. That's where Pearl Cone is, over there on 26th. And it's going to be, is this open to the public as well to attend, or is this something that's just going to be structured with the 100 representatives from community organizations?
Structured with 100 community organizations.
They've already received invitations. You're getting your RSVPs. Hopefully you have a good... And so who are these people? Are these like, the neighborhood watch leader? Are these, what kind of folks are invited?
So it's a very diverse group that we're inviting. We're inviting neighborhood leaders from community organizations. We're inviting community service organizations such as the Dirty Dozen, which is a grassroots organization, works in a lot of our public housing properties and schools. We're inviting established organizations like the 100 Black Men,
Faith Community,
interfaith community too. Not
elected politicians, though, necessarily, right?
We'll have some elected politicians, though, but that will not be the majority. The mayor,
I'm not saying they shouldn't be there. I was just wondering if it was just all citizens or if you also have elected individuals.
And we'll have members of the criminal justice system that are going to participate.
Some law enforcement?
So public defender's office, district attorney, a couple of judges, and law enforcement officers. We want to really have an honest conversation about what is going on in America and what is going on in Nashville, but how do do we in Nashville move forward and set an example that we would like to see modeled in other places in this country. And so this event Saturday is invitation only, but this event will inform a larger event that will be open to the public that we're going to host on September 10th at the Music City Center.
Okay, we'll promote that. And certainly I would imagine media will probably be covering this. And so there'll be news stories coming out. Listen, we need to take a break on that. And I want to talk about some of what exactly you guys will have on the agenda for the discussion there. And we can take some phone calls as well, 737-7587 for our two guests. So we'll take a break, be back with more right after this. Stay with us.